កម្មវិធីកិច្ចសន្ទនាកម្ពុជានិងពិភពលោក
Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue on Southeast Asia TV. Tonight is a special night because I happen to have a long-time friend, who happened to be in town. Once again, I like to grab them when they're in town. How Sunit is Cambodian. He is now the country resident representative of the International Financial Corporation that we all know as the IFC. In Delhi, East Timor, and he's taking a few days off to visit Cambodia. So I thought have him come over, and we can have a dialogue on the sort of like the experience sharing between two post-crisis country. Of course, Cambodia, we are like 20 some year, into the development already. But you can also look at the other country. In this case, happen to be East Timor, that just in the process to join ASEAN, start the process to apply to WTO. So I think there's a lot of things that Cambodia can share. So on that note, I want to welcome you, Sunit. Welcome to Cambodia, to your homeland again. Good to have you back home.
Thank you.
So I'm going to give you a few minutes. You can tell a bit about your background, to the audience, and then we can talk about Cambodia and East Timor, how we can share each other experience.
ជំរាបសួរសាយស្ដីប្រិយមិត្តទាំងអស់ជាទីគោរពខ្ញុំឈ្មោះហៅសនិតជាខ្មែរយើងកើតនៅស្រុកខ្មែរហើយឆ្លងកាត់ការរស់នៅក្នុងប្រទេសយើងនេះជាច្រើនដូចជាដទៃទៀតដែរខ្ញុំនឹងនិយាយបន្ថែមទៀតពីប្រវត្តិរបស់ខ្ញុំជាបន្តខ្ញុំសូមអរគុណដល់អាយដាមសុកសិផាណាដែលបានជួយខ្ញុំមកទីនេះចូលរួមកម្មវិធីនេះដែលជាកម្មវិធីមួយពេញនិយមខ្ញុំតាមដានច្រើនដែរចឹងជាការរីករាយណាស់ដែលបានពិភាក្សាជាមួយអាយដាមនៅពេលនេះ
Okay, good. Well, you can give a bit your professional background in English. How you start, where you study, how you start, and pretty much your career path.
Okay. Yeah. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was born in the eastern part of the country, but I spent most of my life in refugee camps along the Thai-Cambodian borders.
What year was that?
From 1982 until 1992. So
wow, 12 years.
12 years of life in the jungles.
Yeah.
And
well, I was in Khao Dang also, but for about a year, in 1980.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I study primary school and secondary school education over there, and then my opportunity for going to high school ended because there was no any other schools at that time.
In the camp, of course
in the
not.
Camps, yes. So I didn't have proper high school education. I had taken classes here and there, and then only in 1997 when I had a chance to get scholarships to study in the US, doing my bachelor and master degree over there.
Oh, good.
And then in 2003, I got a job with the International Finance Corporation.
2003, yeah? I was with the Ministry of Commerce at that time.
Right.
That's when we knew each other.
That's right. So we worked a lot with each other doing the WTO work.
Yes.
And a lot of trade facilitation work.
We published a book, on the WTO.
Right. So it was a pleasure and a very enriching experience working with you and other people at the Ministry of Commerce and other ministries in the government during that time. And then my career path has taken me to work in the Philippines, in Ukraine, covering 4 countries in Central and Eastern Europe.
Short-term assignment or?
It was a short-term assignment. I had the opportunity to stay longer, but I decided to come back. And then in 2015, I got a job in Washington D.C. with the World Bank.
Okay.
And only this year, beginning of this year, January 1st, I got a new job as a president representative of the International Finance Corporation in Dili, Timor-Leste.
All right, cool.
It's a pleasure.
Well, I remember when I left the Ministry of Commerce to go to Geneva to work for the International Trade Center. Many of my friends say, "Oh, but why are you leaving Cambodia?" But I felt that it's important that Cambodian, go out more to work with international organization, because that's how you can, number one, you can learn what you cannot learn at home. Number two, you put the name of the country in the international scene. And number three, which is very, very important, is that it's only when you're in this international organization that you can help your country in many different ways. And I'm glad to see now that we have another Cambodian who are the country representative of the IFC. It's not a small job. It's not a small job. A few weeks ago, I have also a common friend, Rizal, who went to work in New York. So we start to see more and more Cambodian taking on higher responsibility in the international scene, So, but I'm very proud of you, Sunit, very proud. All right.
Thank you, Bong. Thank you, Excellency.
Yeah, no, Bong is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Anyway, you are now posted in Delhi, which is East Timor. East Timor is in the process now to join ASEAN. Hopefully this year or next year, we don't know. But they also have expressed intention to apply to the WTO also, right? What is your impression if you compare the state of development in East Timor as compared to Cambodia, because you went through very much the development stage of Cambodia development, from a post-crisis into rehabilitation and then development. Now we are moving to a low middle income country.
Yes.
Anyway.
Thank you. Well, I've got asked a lot about this question, and I always give the same answer, is that being in Timor-Leste, I feel like going back in time like 15 years or so. Here's the reason. That our two countries share quite similar historical, political, and economic development path. Timor-Leste was under the Portuguese colony for almost 400 years.
Okay.
And then plus 27 years of Indonesian occupation. They only gained independence in 1999, and from that time on they worked very hard. They have been working very hard to develop the countries, open up the economy, and aspiring to be a member, a part of the international global organizations. Become a member of the World Bank Group, the IMF, now trying to become a member of the ASEAN and WTO. And the government, just like ours, stress very, very much emphasize the importance of having peace and stability as political stability as prerequisite for development. So I think they see all the right pictures to move the country forwards. One thing that is slightly different is that Timor-Leste is quite lucky to get windfalls of oil. They have a lot of oil reserved,
right?
And as of today, the money coming from the oil exploration and extraction, and they put in a petroleum fund which invests in international international financial markets, is $16 billion in a petroleum fund which they withdraw every year to use for government expenditures, to invest in infrastructure and other necessary fields, to crowd in investment so that they know that the natural resources will not be there forever. So they try to front load investments to crowd in private sector so that they can diversify to other sources of growth, to create jobs, to reduce poverty. Because oil sector, you only create so many jobs, but it's highly skilled and not as a post-conflict country, just like Cambodia. When we were 15, 20 years ago, the human development is still at an early stage, so they really know what they need to do.
So you see quite a lot of similarity, but the exception that you mentioned is quite different, because Cambodia did not have a dollar of oil, so we rely quite a lot on external assistance. Do they have a lot of external assistance?
They used to have a lot of external assistance right after independence, until their petroleum windfalls became quite substantial.
Okay.
And now, because of that, the country has graduated from being called a low income country to lower middle income country.
So it's like Cambodia. Lower middle income country.
Right. So the GDP per capita is almost a little bit higher than Cambodia, but it's almost pretty much the same, right?
But they, in the UN nomenclature, they still in LDC, right?
I think that they pretty much have graduated from that.
Oh, they graduated already.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. So, but one important note that I want to make is that although on a per capita income basis, they are a lower middle income country, but if you look at human development indexes, they are very much at the lower level, low income country. For example, poverty rate is like 41.8%.
Oh my God!
And youth unemployment rate is like almost 15%, like 14.8.
Quite high.
Stunting. This is
stunning.
Stunting is more than 50%.
Wow.
And that can have significant implications on future development. Because the first 5 years of development of children has a very significant impact on future earning and development as a person.
Well, I can recall after the our peace process in 1993, when we have the government of reform, I recall our poverty rate is about plus 50%. So now we're down to about 13-14%. So we almost 1% per year of poverty reduction, and we're doing very well on MDG. How are they doing on the MDG?
I think in terms of poverty reduction, they are doing it at a gradual level. Here's the slightly different aspect, because income from oil it goes directly to a petroleum fund, and then they draw it back, and they have a lot of money as a social almost like social transfer to a lot of people.
Okay.
So MDG is so broad that I would like to concentrate to poverty. It's they still have quite a lot of work to do, because the experience of Cambodia is that the growth, the expansion of agriculture production, and good prices that Cambodian agricultural products got really helped reduce poverty of our country. And that income from those agriculture sector really reduced, especially help reduce the poverty rate in Cambodia. Although, whereas in the case of Timor-Leste, they have a generous social welfare program to the country, but like for example, veterans get $250 per month.
Okay.
But that's that.
Is this allowance?
This is allowance, but that compared to the income that you would have got from your own enterprises.
But economic sector-wise, aside from petroleum, how is the agriculture? How is the tourism? How is the construction, for example?
Let me start with the easy part. Construction is a huge part of the economy, because the government, like I said before, try to front load investment in public infrastructure to private sector. So it's a huge business. but for agriculture it's quite small. And because of the topography of the
Yeah.
country,
Yeah.
it's very hard to get economy of scale. And there's a very high cost
Yeah.
of doing agriculture.
Sunil, we're gonna take a short break, and after that, when we come back, I want you to deepen a bit more on this economic sector, like tourism,
Yes.
that sort of
It
thing.
will
yeah?
be a pleasure.
All right, good. Okay. So construction, of course, in post-development, right? I mean, it's a big upfront investment. That's what happened in Cambodia. It's the same thing. But Cambodia, we have strong tourism, with
Yes.
our national heritage, Angkor Wat, that sort of thing. But not East Timor, no?
Yeah.
How's the tourism?
Tourism has great potential on ecotourism.
Ecotourism, yes.
Because the country just emerged from wars 12 years ago, more than 14 years ago, there's a lot of infrastructure development to take tourists from Delhi, where they will land, to ecotourism sites.
Okay.
And I said they have great tourism because I just want to give two examples.
Yeah.
The terrains, the scenery is absolutely outstanding, so stunning. The mountains, the trees. It's when I can show you some of the pictures.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. I remember in Washington D.C. I used to drive 2 hours to the
Yeah.
Shenandoah,
to West Virginia to see
just
the
to
mountain,
those
right?
mountains. It's just right there next
Yeah.
door, behind my house in Delhi, and Timor-Leste is situated in the path of whale and dolphin migration.
Oh, wow.
I remember in last November when I was sitting with our Cambodian friends.
Yeah.
There are about 10 Cambodians
Okay.
working over there, and they just told me, Sunil, look behind your back. 30 dolphins were flying in school
Wow.
to passing us, and you have 90% chance. I was told, if you go to Timor-Leste and take the boat to the out of the coast and see
To see,
dolphins
right? Yeah.
dancing over
But
there.
for tourism, if we compare with Siem Reap, what in the early day after the the Paris Peace Accord, you find that our biggest challenge is to have infrastructure to welcome tourists. Tourists want to come, but there was only one hotel at that time, Taprum. That's it.
Yes.
That's it. You remember? Only one hotel.
right.
Now we have I don't know, maybe 30,000 room now, something. But so over there, there's probably a lot of opportunity for investing into quality infrastructure, resort, hotel, that sort of thing.
Yes. Right now in Timor-Leste there are oversupply of rooms.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but the quality could be improved.
Okay.
So
That I agree.
That's your point of a quality hotel. I think there are opportunities, a lot of opportunities of doing that.
Yes.
But it's a chicken and egg thing.
Yes.
You invest in hotel facilities when you see the numbers of tourist arrival is going up at a rate that is significant.
Yes.
In 2015, in Timor-Leste, there were around 55,000 visitors. Many of them were business visitors.
50,000. 55,000. My God.
So that's it's chicken and egg thing. Yet there are people who are so convinced, and I share the view that Timor-Leste will be a big thing because it is uncharted destinations. It's a
Yes.
virgin destination that people would come to see the beauty, they'll learn about history and the ecotourism. So there are some large hotel operators thinking of put a couple $100 million building 5-star hotels over there.
Wow.
So once they get the legal framework out, then there will be people.
That's a good point, Sunil. Since you mentioned about legal framework, right? I'm a lawyer, and you know that we since '93 I've been working with the UN, with the government to help build the legal system, right? To contribute, when there was nothing except some old law during the UNTAC day. But to attract investment, and you're talking about attracting, multinational to build a $200-300 million hotel room, they would want predictability. They would want security, legal security, of course. You know, they would want a sort of like from the IAC word, where they're doing business environment, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a bit how they're doing now.
They know that. They know
Okay.
that they have to beef up the legal framework, and they're working very hard on that. They give credit to the government of Timor-Leste. They're working very hard on that, and but just like the case of our country, like when we just started emerging from conflict, it's a lot. There's so many things on your plate that you need to do, and there are few people who have the capacity, just like in our case, to do that. So they're working very hard to improve the investment law.
Okay.
Reform regulatory framework to make the cost of doing business lower by establish a one-stop shop for company registration. They work on trade facilitation, like you and I did together in the early 2000s, and they achieved quite a result that reduced the time to clear customs in the port of Dili by more than 63% within 3 years time frame. So I'm quite impressed. My first 3 months experience there has been impressive. Of course, there are a lot of things to do, and they know it, and they've been reaching out to a lot of development partners to help them working things through.
Yeah, the good thing about being a latecomer, right? You can skip the learning curve if you're smart enough to learn what is happening in other place, and then you go for the best practice. You go for the best advice from country who have done it, you know. But I think there's nowadays we talk a lot about. It's funny because we are in Cambodia, and we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, you know, because our prime minister went to Davos, and we are still working on. I wouldn't say not yet third industrial revolution. We're still more like second, moving a bit to second half, right? You know, what I'm trying to say is that IT, you know, matter quite a bit nowadays, right, in the development of the economy. We're doing quite well here in Cambodia. As you know, everybody have a handphone, a smartphone. Everybody have Facebook. Everybody have social media, that sort of thing, and it's creating a lot of economic spillover. You know, how are they doing in terms of IT penetration?
At the starting stage.
Okay. 3G.
3G, yes, 3G is there. There are 3 telecom operators in the country. I'm saying at starting stage is because 3Gs you can have it, but it's depend on satellite. So it's right now they depend on satellite for 3G distribution. They do not have submarine fiber optic yet. One that comes in, I think the spread of
we just had
penetration,
another submarine cable coming to Cambodia from Malaysia. Just inaugurate, I think last month or something.
Nice.
Now we link to submarine cable now.
So that is the speed that you want. That would help spur the growth of IT sector. So I think.
But if you look back, right, Sunil, in your days in Cambodia, the IT now speed and everything compared to what year in Cambodia? 2000? 2005?
I think it was 2005 or 2006. Because at that time I remember that even at IFC office, Global Group office, where I think at that time it was probably the best connection. Then we still had a lot of interruption. Had to do dial and using MPCT network. So I think.
So that's what they are now. About 2005.
For our office, they were last month there were a few times of internet disruption in our office. So I reflected back at that time. That was the experience I had in 2005.
I remember when we moved to the CDC at that time was UNDP, I was attached to His Excellency Ketchon,
Yes.
and he was at CDC, and when we moved there, UNDP, we have to put a budget to buy the computer for our project, and it's like cost $5,000. The computer is this big, that big, right? I think the power is probably less than an iPhone now.
I believe so. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So like for another example of IT, internet connection.
Yeah.
I have internet connection at my house.
Yes.
It costs $600 a month.
How much?
$600.
$600 a month.
So it could be expensive.
Wow.
Because of but I think once
It will come, yeah.
once the submarine submarine cable come in, and there are 3G
Yeah.
pretty much almost in major parts of the country. So I think it will be.
What is the IFC? What you gonna do there? What sort of support you gonna provide to the East Timor government?
Well, so far we work on the strategic framework that we agree with the government of Timor-Leste since 2013, which will end at the end of 2018. Is we concentrate on 3 areas: helping to increase access to infrastructure through PPP advisory services.
Okay, yeah. Same like we did in Cambodia
Exactly, the
in
airport.
2001.
Yes.
I remember the IAF, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Public-Private Sector Infrastructure Advisory Fund or something like
Right.
this. Yeah.
Right. So and through that work, we help the government to bid and get a private sector interest and bid on a competitive basis to build the port in Timor-Leste that will be the largest investment by private sector in Timor-Leste to date. It's
Yes.
a $490 million investment
Wow.
of state-of-the-art port, seaport, and 360 million of that is put by the private sector operator. So that's through our support. So it's a big thing, and Timor-Leste, everyone talks about that port. The other area is we help to improve regulatory framework.
Okay.
So help the government to implement reforms in company registration, in trade facilitation that I just talked about, and improving the quality of investment law to attract FDI as well as domestic investment. And the third area is that we provide advice and investment support to improve financial sector by working with microfinance enterprise, microfinance institutions to improve their operations, improve their management and MIS system, management information system, to basically to increase efficiency and to reach more micro clients. And just like the case we helped Cambodia in the early 2000 when we invested in Frida, now it becomes a regional bank.
Well, I think when you speak about all this development assistance, you cannot help but to look back in our country how we sort of graduate a bit now, because the role of the private sector is very strong here. The entrepreneur is very strong now. But I recall 10-15 years ago, this the government private sector forum, which IFC have launched in Cambodia, where we turn out to be one of the best country in terms of government private sector dialogue. Do you intend to have that over there?
Yeah, well, IFC helped establish public-private dialogue in Timor-Leste since 2008 or 2009.
Oh, okay.
So that mechanism is there. IFC has, just like in the case of the Mekong region, we stop being actively involved to help set up, train the people and provide the capacity, and now we have taken back and they manage the whole process themselves. So that the mechanism is there.
Good. Well, we'll take another break, and then when we come back, I want to look how they do in terms of preparation to join ASEAN and also the ambition to join WTO. Right? Okay. Well, Cambodia, we have the peace process, like in East Timor. We peace, stability, development, and then opportunity came for Cambodia to join ASEAN with the last member ASEAN. And then East Timor is following that pattern now. And I would want to say that Cambodia is the strongest supporter of East Timor. Our Prime Minister, like Hun Sen, is a strong supporter of East Timor accession. In fact, he even went over there. Yes. And the East Timor high delegation are coming to Cambodia. So similar pattern. I heard now from my friend that East Timor is considering in the near future, after they join ASEAN or even before joining ASEAN, to apply also for the WTO. In the case of Cambodia, we make the WTO accession as our overarching, integration agenda, right? So quite interesting how the pattern of the two countries, yes. They sort of follow behind that. So Cambodia have a lot of things to share. But what is the preparation that you know of now?
Well, I think becoming a part of the regional and global economy is the priority of the government of Timor-Leste. That's how I see it.
Yes.
Through talking to our colleagues, yes. Our counterpart over there, and so they have got a lot of support from many development partners, including our friends at the Asian Development Bank.
Okay.
And so they have seconded people, hire consultants to put into different ministries to
yes.
really get themselves ready to become a part of ASEAN.
Okay.
And the same thing with WTO. I met a few advisors of the ministers who are in charge of the
yes.
WTO accession. They are very keen to look at different models that countries have become a member of the WTO, and they also look at Cambodia.
Yes.
So I think they would be very interested, and at least that's how I feel it, to hear anything that you could share with them. Like you could come to Timor-Leste anytime. I would be very happy
now that I know you there, this I mean seriously, there have been several requests for me to go there and share the experience. I don't know anybody there. So, but now that I know you're there, a good place to have good food, so it's okay, So I will go there. No, but it's quite interesting that a post country, or post crisis country, if they chose the right development policy, they could skip the learning curve. Right?
Yes.
They could skip learning curve. So many factors in their favor. When we had the peace process in '93. The internet was not there yet. The technology was not that advanced. So remember, we're struggling. Everything manually and everything. It's so difficult. Learning, knowledge-based, knowledge transfer, so difficult.
Yeah.
But 20 years later, right, in the case of East Timor, they cannot say that they don't have access.
That's a very good point. And a few things I want to mention here is that first, on the WTO accession, they're very appreciative of Cambodia, of our Prime Minister, full support for the accession. And when the Minister of State, which is equivalent to a senior minister in our contact, came to Cambodia in Siem Reap for the WTO China discussions, and he met with His Excellency Pan Surasa, and I was communicating with his advisor, and they were so happy, appreciative of our Prime Minister's support.
Yes.
On connectivity, they do have connectivity, and they make use of ICT, information telecom technology to their benefit. Now, for budgets and expenditures that are happening in Timor-Leste, it's reported in real time. It's on the web, on the internet, and who helped build that system? It's our Cambodian colleagues.
Is that right?
Satun Thai is a ICT advisor to the Ministry of Finance. So
wow.
So not just me that.
So we have. It's good that they have Cambodia is quite interesting. I remember a few years ago, 2012, when we are, trying to compete to have a seat in the UN, General UN Security Council. So we have to go and talk to different ambassadors, different country to say, what Cambodia can contribute, right? And many times these ambassadors would look at us and say, well, Cambodia is a small country, a post-crisis, what can you bring to the table? What can we learn from you? It's quite shocking, the perception that the bigger country, they would say, well, what do you have to put on the table that we don't know, right? And it's interesting, this is one thing I said to them. I say, do you know that in terms of cultural heritage, Uncle Wat, we, won so many of the praise in terms of historical preservation, right? And cultural heritage. Country are coming to Cambodia to learn how do you preserve this historical thing. In the mining, we are now sending our UN, peacekeeping, right? We send our troop to join under the umbrella.
The global standard.
Yes, we go to I don't know how many countries. We have about 3,000 now that I can recall in so many different countries, helping this country demine, for example, and there are so many. WTO is not a good example. How Cambodia is the first country who have joined the WTO in the fastest pace as possible, right? So many things we can share, and it sort of shocked people because they thought, well, you're post-crisis, you're small. What can we learn from you? Cambodia will look under the MDG, right? We achieve many different indicators before even the target.
Yes.
Poverty reduction, find a country that you bring down 1% every year. The World Bank have considered us among the 6 countries in the world who have attained they call it Olympian of growth, right?
Yes.
More average 70% over 20 years. I mean, all these things, we do have something to share. And in a way, you are a good example how you have learned from the system, and then now you're in position as a Cambodian, right? You may represent the IFC, but foremost you're Cambodian.
Yes, absolutely. My job is to represent IFC, but I'm Cambodian, so I'm wherever I go, whenever I'm in meeting, I'm always proud to say that I'm from Cambodia. This is my experience from Cambodia, and I would be happy to share with you. And I always make a case that this is not about teaching, it's about sharing. Sharing means gives and take. I can learn from you, you can learn. You can take something from our experience. So I'm very proud to be able to on the sideline represent Cambodia.
Looking to the future, Sunit, how do you see East Timor in this case, right? Their vision for development, what sort of a strategy that they have in mind?
Yes, the leadership of the Timorese government, of the people, have quite a clear ambition, vision on what they want to achieve. They develop a national sustainable development plan 2011 to 2020, which set out the target of becoming an upper middle income country by that time. It's an aspiration.
Yes.
Very ambitious. And what I can see is that the budget, national budget, the planning, it looks like they're trying to achieve that, working toward that. And in the national budget, the preparation, they always say this will fit into this part of the sustainable development plan. So that's the target. They have a target of become something of a significant as a upper middle income country.
Yes.
So, and the plan set out diversifying resources to grow from oil and gas to agriculture and tourism, while still try to take benefit of oil and gas that they still have in other parts of the country, and build skills of the people, become a trading nation, because the population of the people of the country is only 1.2, so they know they have to rely on doing trade to be able to become a country that is so substantial as they plan.
So now we're almost running out of time, but I want to, before we close, I want to look a bit the perspective of the development pattern that we have gone through. You and I have gone through as a person, right? You know what, there are 10 Cambodian working there, but if East Timor would have reached out to us to say, look, we like, what other thing can you share that Cambodia have gone through, for example? What sort of area you think Cambodian, right? Yeah. Not necessarily through UN or World Bank organization, but Cambodian. What do you think we can share? We're doing well on private sector development. We're doing very well on IT. We're doing very well in construction. So many different things. But what do you think Cambodian can go to Dili and say, this we can share our experience?
A few things. First is their emphasizes of the importance of private sector, the role in creating jobs and promoting the growth of the country. I think Cambodia has done very well in making in promoting private sector development. I think I remember, like you mentioned earlier, that in 1993 we had private enterprises, but not the type and the scale of we see today. Second, I think we have done well in terms of developing agriculture. There are many things that can be improved, but I want to. I'm referring to the rice sector, that we could increase the export of rice by 5-fold from like 10,000 tons in 2011 or 2011 to 500,000 tons in 2015, and that concerted integrated multi-pronged approach to addressing private value chains. I think this is something that we can share with our colleagues in
and for sure, you mentioned about the rice policy, which we should take a lot of pride from exporting barely 15,000 metric ton to more than 500,000 metric ton, thanks to a good value chain and good export rice policy. This is something that we can share in the agricultural sector.
Of course, I'm sure there will be other opinions about what happened after that. But my view is that if we didn't take the chance during that time, we wouldn't get that.
We would still be at 15,000 export.
And there are many factors that affect it, but still, if we didn't take a chance.
Well, Sunil, we're coming to the end of the show, but I just want to conclude by saying, number one, as from a Cambodian to another Cambodia, I'm glad that you make the big jump from working Cambodia to Washington and now to represent the IFC in East Timor. Number two, glad that you can come back for Khmer New Year and then come here and have a nice discussion to compare for the benefit of our young, our university student, our population, to raise a bit, that Cambodia will come a long way. Cambodia, we come from a post-crisis in 93, but look where we are now, something to be proud of, So that's basically the main thing I want people to remember from our show today, that we come a long way, and we're proud to have Cambodia now serving in international organization, and more should be working hard toward that direction.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for having me here. and it's a pleasure to be able to share my experience and the experience of my life with other people, our younger generation. And my parting remark is that I was not born with silver plate in my hand.
Yes.
I didn't have proper education until very late in my life. So then my message is that if you work hard, try hard, work hard, you will get to somewhere. So I encourage that everyone to study hard, work hard, and put the best of your ability for your own good first and foremost, and then but also for your own country, and make Cambodia and every Cambodian proud.
Good, wasn't it? Thank you so much for coming. All right, yeah, and good luck. Good luck. Okay. All right, so we're coming to the end of the show, and I hope you can learn something from our little 45-minute exchange. Good night.